I'm Kendra Alney. I've been with Tyler Technologies for coming up on 3 years. I'm a product strategy analyst, so what that means is basically I spend my days doing a lot of research, talking with clients, trying to understand what the market is doing, what our competitors are doing, and then rolling that into recommendations to improve our products and services. I've actually left Maine a couple times and come back to Maine. The second time I left, I moved to Charleston, South Carolina, bought a condo, and it was right before the housing bubble burst. And so when I was looking to come back to Maine, I couldn't sell my condo, and I thought, I'm never going to be able to find a job that allows me to do this. But I kept looking, and I did find a job in Maine that allowed me to come home and gave me the financial flexibility that I needed to come back. Fast forward 5 years, after having a great career in legal marketing, I was able to shift gears again and come to Tyler and embark on a whole new career journey. I'm Kendra Alney, and I work at Tyler Technologies. You can find your Maine job at liveandworkinmaine.com.
If you don't want to fall immediately into love, look away. If you don't want to awaken a desire for excellence, look away. If you don't want to be seduced, please look away.
Lease the all-new Stelvio for just $377 per month at Alfa Romeo of Portland.
We were sailing along on Moonlight Bay. That's all you're getting from me.
We're gonna climb Mount Pisgah.
Climb?
We're gonna climb. It's a hike. It's a mild walk.
Congratulations on your business.
I hope you're gonna get that.
Yeah, today we've already had really big black spiders, potential black bears, and now ghost stories.
That's all
This
good.
is a great episode.
An echo is the semblance of a sound. And I press and I've waited with my ear upon the ground. Oh, lover, I'll see you there, waiting in the willows with your autumn hair. Oh, lover, I'll see you there after many miles.
Oh, that's good.
Well, the weather cooperated for us.
This is
Yeah, it's
great.
perfect.
Yeah, this is what it's about.
So, Bill, tell us, or Andrew, you tell us who our friends are today.
Well, we have Bill Celtica, and he's the vice commodore of the Cobbossee Conti Yacht Club, and David Dennett, who is the commodore of the yacht club.
This is your place. This is your spot.
Yes, we are here on this lake every day of the year. And right now is the payoff for being here all the time.
How long have you been here?
16 years now, yeah.
Cobbossee Conti,
Exactly.
but the young kids are saying the Cobb.
The Cobb.
Yeah,
So those guys over there would call it the Cobb.
Right, yeah.
Locals kind of call it Cobbossee.
Oh, Cobbossee.
We'll
Okay.
call it Cobbossee.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go check her out.
All right,
This is great.
let's go.
So, is this rare to have this view on a lake?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's probably the only active lake lighthouse that there is in the state of Maine. In fact, one of the few in the country.
So, why here?
It goes back to the 1800s, and the fact that this lake is very, very difficult to navigate. Early on, people found that the shoals, the rock ledges that are out in this area are really difficult. And it was decided by a man by the name of Daniel Robinson and others on the lake back in those days, in the turn of the century into 1900, that let's build a lighthouse out here. And so they started construction of the lighthouse. In 1908, it was completed. Turned over to the yacht club, which had begun in 1904.
So tell me about this yacht club, those expensive dues.
Yeah, $25 a year per family.
And you're a member.
I am a member.
Right. You're not yet?
We can fix that, Erin.
Sign me up.
By the end of the day.
The most beautiful and inexpensive club to be
That's
a part
right.
of.
The short story of it all is the fact that we began as a yacht club, but at the same time, we really have always been a lake association concerned about the welfare of the lake.
Okay,
You know,
sure.
and I can remember the day former Commodore Hugh Stevens, who is now formally the keeper of our light. He was the Commodore for years. I can remember the day that he came to me and he said, David, so we've got to change that. We've got to fix that lighthouse, the list. So we need to raise money. And he says, it's going to take tens of thousands of dollars. And I think my initial reply was something in order of good luck. I couldn't see this happening. And then I was told about the generosity of Kennebec Savings Bank starting us off with $5,000.
All right.
And that began.
Yeah,
And the
momentum.
money started flowing in. The cost of raising this, putting the new foundation in, then doing the Mark Newcomb top, tens of thousands of dollars raised, and here we are. And this is now, we hope, going to last for decades.
I've never been in, so I want to.
Hey, all right.
Okay, well. So we're at the top of Ladies Delight Lighthouse on Lake Cobbossee in Winthrop, Maine. It's just a gorgeous place to be. The lighthouse has been here for 110 years, built by the original Cobbossee Yacht Club. And we just recently put a new beacon inside to be able to run it on solar power. The Cobbossee Yacht Club is charged with maintenance on the lighthouse, taking care of the lighthouse, and we've done many things over the years, such as straightening the lighthouse, putting a new top on it, and as well as the new beacon and power system for it.
Hi there.
Erin
So
O'Valley.
nice to meet you. Love your menu.
Yes, beautiful.
So from New York to Maine?
I am. 25.
We're glad you're here.
Yeah, we have fun.
This is a hot spot.
Next up,
We're going to go to Kennebec Land Trust, and we're going to climb Mount Pisgah. It's here.
climb.
We're going to climb. It's a hike. It's a mild walk.
That's more like it. Okay. So Andrew, from the lake to beautiful Mount Pisgah, we are now here with the folks from Kennebec Land Trust, Teresa and Jean-Luc. Thanks so much for having us. Teresa, I know this is a special feature before we head up, so tell us a little bit about the kiosk.
Well, this is a kiosk where you can stop and figure out where you want to go on the trails here. There's a total of how many miles of trails now, Jean-Luc?
About 4 miles of trails.
4 miles of trails. So this is a place where people can look at the map and figure out which direction they want to go. This kiosk in particular, I think, is really noteworthy because it was constructed by a local resident in Wayne. His name is Vinnie Burtwell, and he built this from wood that he cut from his own land.
Awesome.
He has his own sawmill, and he's just finished the timber framing class up at the Southern Maine Technical College. It's a great way for people to start the hike and learn a little bit about what they're going to see. There's interpretive information about wildlife and the views at the top. I will mention that because this property is our largest conservation property, it's over 1,000 acres,
Wow.
we try and make our properties as large as possible because Maine's wildlife needs extensive habitat.
Sure.
So that's not a joke that you would be able to see almost every wildlife species on there, including black bear and moose, could be on this property.
I thought I was in trouble with the spiders out on the lake.
You probably won't see them today, though.
So Jean-Luc, which path are we taking?
Yep. So today we're going to be hiking our most popular trail, the Tower Trail. Everyone around here knows about this trail. People come from many miles around. We get people from New York, Massachusetts, you name it. So this trail is about 0.9 miles, a little less than a mile. At the top, we'll check out the fire tower.
Great. Let's
Get going.
Erin, it's the spectacular 360-degree views that are the attraction here. So when we get to the top, you'll be able to see
some great shots.
All around the western mountains, the lakes.
Oh,
it's
pretty.
just fabulous.
So Teresa, you said this was your first picnic?
It was.
Up
It's the
this way?
Yeah, I have climbed this tower many, many times with my own children and with school children who love to come here, but I've never sat down in that little space there. That was so much fun.
Well, thank you to Full Court Deli for those amazing sandwiches. And we have a celebration in order, 30-year anniversary.
It is, yeah.
Congratulations, guys.
Thank you. We're really proud of what we've accomplished over that time. We have 1,000 households that support our work in Central Maine,
and a few businesses.
And 43 businesses.
Awesome.
And Kennebec Savings Bank has been a leader in supporting the Kennebec Land Trust since the beginning.
So at the Kennebec Land Trust, we manage about 6,200 acres and 43 miles of trails. George Smith, he just donated some land up in Mount Vernon, 125 acres of wetland and forest. So we're working on a mile trail. And we're also working on a new project in West Gardner. We'll be working on 2 rental cabins that were donated to the Land Trust.
Oh, that's a property that has 4,000 feet of frontage on Cobbossee Stream. So the cabin master
so cool.
group is going to be working to renovate 2 of the 4 cabins.
Well, we like to provide public access to the lands that we've conserved. That's really our hope, is to get more people out enjoying the woods and trails and
See the best parts of Maine.
That's right.
Well, Erin, we're here in Monmouth, Maine at Cumston Hall.
The home of theater at Monmouth.
And this is built in 1890?
Yes, it started in 1890 and it was finished in 1900. It was the brainchild of Dr. Cumston, who donated the land and hired Harry Cochran, who's a well-known Maine artist, not only to do the really fabulous murals you're going to see inside, but to actually design the building itself. I like to refer to us as being on the road to nowhere.
Well, it's quite the scene when you come through. I mean, it's breathtaking.
And you really have to want to be here to find this majestic building.
Majestic, yeah.
And when we go inside, I'll tell you a little bit about how it was constructed and how it's used, and a little bit about the ghosts that dwell here.
Ghost story.
So this is a secret gem in Central Maine.
On stage, and you can get a sense of what it looks like as an actor. Let's give a little ha, and you'll hear how live the space is.
After you.
So I was sitting up there, Mike was standing here, and he all of a sudden goes like this, and like he sees someone, and then he moved over to try and figure out who it was because it looked like somebody had sat down, and there was no one there. And he turned white. And so the lore is that it is Harry Cochran who designed the space. If he likes the show, he sits down, and if he doesn't, he blows one of the house lights, like the bulb will pop.
So how many performances a year do you put
Oh
on?
my goodness. Well,
Or your busy season?
our busy season, we do roughly 60 performances. Like I said, in rotating rep, all shows building at the same time, rehearsing at the same time, and then every week from this week on through the end of July, we will tech and open another show on the weekend. And then once, it's like the magician's trick where you have the plates spinning and you have to keep them going. So that's basically what we do. Once a show opens, it just stays in the rep. We have a strong commitment to have 50% of our company be made in Maine, whether they currently live here or they come back from away. And then the rest come from 36 states. Both audience and artists come from all over the country. We have people who come from 6 or 7 countries annually to come see the shows. So yeah, it's an amazing little gem. In earnest, I love that it's on the road to nowhere. I love that it's a discovery that you have to make by taking the journey. And this year we're working on food trucks so that we have a little bit more happening.
Well, thank you for all that you do
Absolutely.
for Maine and this community.
Thank you.
So fun. I'll be back.
Excellent.
To watch the show.
That would be
Very
fantastic.
exciting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Gene and Veronica, this is Erin Valley.
What a way to be greeted.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to Silver Oaks.
We've got a meeting with a family that has come in from Colorado. They booked a wedding with us for next June, so we're sitting down talking about some of the details.
For next June wedding?
For next June.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We'll talk to you guys in a bit. So how did you get into this business?
So we bumped into this on the way back from the grocery store one day. I passed by on 135 and a gentleman was sitting in a beach chair with a little tiny sign that said building lot for sale.
Oh, don't make this up. This sounds
this
like
is too good to be true.
True Maine.
True Maine. So I went past and I had lost my mother a few years ago and I heard her in my head saying, go back and take a look. It doesn't cost you a dime. Go see what he's got. So I spun around and I came back to him and he was sitting in the beach chair drinking some ice cold beer at 10 in the morning. So I knew it was going to be an interesting discussion. And he took me on a tour of the property and like when you meet the right person, you just know immediately, I knew I had to have this piece of property. And I had a little bit of money in my pocket and I bought first right of refusal before the boss saw it. And
he called me.
Called her immediately.
You need to see this. I'm gonna go and pick you up. You need to see this.
And what did you think?
That he was crazy.
Got this big old barn. It's 100 foot long by 50 foot wide. We've got a seating capacity of 400 people. We've got a standing capacity of 700. We've got Aprilla Cakes of Maine and Cafe 130 and Cafe 130 Mixology. The thing that is nearest and dearest to our heart is our local vendors are what we put an emphasis on. Whether you're a baker or a florist or a caterer or a bartending service, we've made a change in the lives of so many of our local people who would not have had the opportunity to have business in any other type of capacity. But every weekend we're booked and we're bringing in hundreds of people from away to have their weddings here, and all of our local professionals are servicing them. Well, here's to June 22nd, 2019, 1 year from tomorrow. You'll be husband and wife.
Cheers. And congratulations on your business.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
I'm Amanda Rand, and I'm the president of Spinnaker Trust. At Spinnaker, we believe in the power and leadership of Maine women and girls, and that's why we're thrilled to support the Maine Women's Lobby and their 40 Years for Women.
What I loved about working for the lobby is that even though I was the only staff person at the time, it was a part-time position, I never felt anything less than being part of a much larger movement. It was a board of directors that was engaged and active, engaged themselves as volunteers at the State House as well as in their own communities, spreading the word about our work in Augusta. Rather than focus on the past and what we've done, we have to set context for what is important today. That is changing for women. There are new opportunities, and along with those new opportunities are new challenges. So the work will never end. We have achievements in the past, but we also need to look forward and recognize the challenges that we need to take on in order to create and catalyze solutions and achievements for the future. So that's what I'm counting on as I look to young women who I know are going to carry on this work brilliantly.
Well, I'm feeling great. Last question first. But yeah, this is Higher Grounds, a coffee shop on Apothecary on Wharf Street in the Old Port. As you can see, we have kind of a diverse array for a coffee shop. This is not your, I guess, average coffee shop. We worked with a local design build shop called Barrett Made. They did incredible work, as you can see, kind of complete metamorphosis, you know, bringing this really beautiful, vibrant, energetic space out of, you know, what was designed not to be seen in the daylight originally. So I think, you know, we've been really happy with that. It's we get a lot of great feedback from people, and I think the energy in here is really great.
I can't tell you how much of a pleasure it is for the opportunity that Quincy and I have to speak to you. I'm extremely impressed by the way you have taken this workforce issue on. And I guess I'd like to begin with the Maine Spark. To most people, I hope they know what it is, but I'm always concerned that people don't know what the principles of it are and what it's trying to accomplish. So can you share what that's all about?
Sure. Well, I mean, it's really about a campaign to address our very real workforce issue. And in a nutshell is we need more people and they need to have skills. Otherwise, we're really not serving our businesses or communities all that well. And so, you know, a bunch of us got together and said, geez, we're just not really moving this at all anymore. What can we do? And the obvious answer is probably work together better and keep it focused. So we got this, you know, campaign goal of 60% by 2025, meaning that, you know, we need 60% of our workforce to have some kind of credential in addition to that high school degree, because that's where the economy is going.
Take a moment and talk about that, the credential.
Sure. Yeah, so like typically we look at that and say, did you get a college degree or not? But it's, the world's much bigger than that. Jobs that we're talking about, they're going to need college degrees, 2 and 4 year degrees, but we also need folks in skilled trades, you know, trade credentials, construction trades, building trades, electricians, these types of things. There's also an emerging tech sector out there that doesn't really require you. I mean, in fact, it moves too fast for a 4-year cycle. Right. So like, how are you getting these professional certifications that are relevant to, you know, to the industry and such? So we're looking at education and training broadly, and we're saying, what is it that Maine employers actually need? And let's get you that stuff. And that's how we're measuring this 60 by 2025.
So how are you actually moving the needle? How are we actually moving forward and encouraging people to get the education and the skills and training that they need?
Sure. So I mean, I think there's 2 things. First thing is we don't really need to create anything new. We've got more than enough stuff going on. And our problem is we all do it in isolation. Maine Spark's really asking people who have ideas to come forward and share those ideas. If you're looking, again, if they're looking for someone to do it for you, you're probably in the wrong spot.
Yeah, I have not heard a person or seen a survey that hasn't reinforced the challenge that we have as a state. There's no greater challenge in our workforce. Yeah. And both the skill and the supply. And it seems to me that Maine Spark seeks to address both of those, to not just prepare, but to also increase the number of people. Who all is involved? You said there is a partnership. Yeah. I think what's impressive is both business and education, but can you expand on that? Because I think it's a message that people want to hear because of, like you said, we approach issues in a silo. Here's an example where it's quite the opposite.
So, you know, it all got started with a core crew, and the state chamber took a lead role in its business partners, but we also have both higher ed systems there. We have Educate Maine, a business-led education group. We have the Maine Development Foundation. We have the Finance Authority of Maine.
You're doing great work.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And necessary work for the success of our state. So thank you for your leadership on this.
I would echo that. I mean, we have a partnership on a number of things, and I have been so impressed with your commitment, your dedication, and just the hard work that you put in to probably our most compelling issue that we face as a state. I think we both toast you.
Cheers.
Coffee, not beer,
it helps
but-
when you have a business community that supports you,
Yeah.
so thank you.
Hats off to you, buddy.